I honestly don't know what that reason is. We should do that. That's a good idea. What if it's windy, though? Oh. Isn't that what a railroad is for? Why don't we just make the container ship into a locomotive? That would be insane. That would be insane. Can you imagine a container ship that has like rails and the rails go into the water and the container ship just rolls out on freaking rails? Like it. Once again, that sounds like a good idea, but it also could be a bad idea, but I also can't say why it could be a bad idea. Like, I like that idea. An engine room is basically a locomotive. Wow, that banger. Yeah, I don't know why that's a bad idea, but I can't disprove what we should do that. Let's do that. That's a good idea. All right, time warp 8 days, and guess what? We are into year 4. Hills. Yeah. Why bad idea? Salt water would eat rail hardware alive. That's why we have no trains near the ocean at all, right, caveman? Okay.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hip gifted us up to Jaka. Should I make a list why it's a bad idea? Guys, I'm mostly kidding. When the good idea, bad idea, I'm not gonna lie to you. I just want to see a container ship like float out of the water like an LCAC. That would be really cool. I know the reasons why. You know what the biggest reason why is? Why we haven't done that yet? Because you haven't seen one. That's the biggest reason. There's a reason why we don't have container ships fly out of the water on train tracks and move around the container ship on train tracks. Yeah, there's a very good reason for that. Yeah, I know, I'm kidding, but it's cool. Why don't we just ship stuff over the internet? Yeah, Jay, it's like when you lose your keys or something, right? I just need a search function for my keys, right? Lack of funding. Let's go over here. Or tank treads. Yeah, that's right, Shady. Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay, we're up here on the station right now. Let's transmit some science here. Okay. Crew's still up there with Explorer. Not sure how the heck we're gonna get that thing down, but figure it out. All right. How are you guys doing? Okay. So the station basically is in the configuration that it was in at the end of the lunar program, or the current lunar program. Got to figure out what we're going to do with it eventually, but we're going to go back down and see, we got Sirius. I saw a Starling train again, but this time it was 2 smaller batches separated by a few minutes. Do they space themselves out that quickly? Depends on which Starling train you saw, Sirius. I'll bet you that you saw Not the most recent Starlink launch. There's a couple of Starlink trains up there right now. I think I saw an ad that ABC will be broadcasting Monaco. Ew. God, I hope not. I hope it stays with ESPN because they're commercial free, gah. Dude, seeing Formula 1 races commercial free ruined racing for me, because now when like NASCAR, even when NASCAR does like the double box or any other sport, I can't, it's so difficult to watch. I know what the Euro guys are saying. It's such a pain in the butt having commercial breaks for a sport. I hate it. And watching Formula 1 is what changed my mind. Commercials during a sporting event is dumb. Except for like football, for like American football, it kind of makes sense because there's lulls and stuff. But for a race, it's completely stupid. Yeah, completely stupid. Radsky, 20-month resub. How's mission mode going? I finally finished studying for tomorrow. Now I can lurk. Right on, Swishio. It would be commercial free on the local network station. ABC and ESPN are owned by the same people. Well, that's good. Is there a place where we can see where and if we can see the Starlink satellites? 619, you could use stuffin.space if you really wanted to. Stuffin.space, keep in mind, it's not an actual track, but it's close. This is an approximation. It's not in real time. But, I mean, dude, all you gotta do is look up. All you gotta do is look up and you can see Starlink satellites going over. It'd have to be like right at dusk or right at dawn, but you can see them. They're there. I mean, this is kind of an approximation of what the Starlink constellation looks like right now. And look, there still is Starlink trains out there. The thing is, you basically have to go out and gaze for satellites. You have to look for Starlink satellites right at dusk or right at dawn, because it needs to be dark enough in the sky that the sun isn't, blotting it out, right? So you wouldn't be able to see it if you're being backlit by the sun, right? But if the sun is coming in this way and you're still in the dark, the satellite can see the sun, right? And it's still nighttime where you are down on the surface because there's Earth in the way. That's the right time to go and look. If you go out on a clear night at dusk, you'll see satellites flying all over the place, dude. You'll see them all over. And even some, if you have low light pollution, you'll see stuff out in geo. Oh yeah, you'll see stuff out in geo. If you're at a high north latitude, up here, you'll see stuff in Molina orbits. You'll see lightning orbits. You can see tundra orbits. There's all different kinds of stuff. Yeah, you just have to go out at the right time, dude. And once again, this is an approximation, so you could use this, but yeah, I mean, it is just an approximation. All right, so let's go over here, bring that up over there. All right. Lightning orbits, Molina orbits. It's what the Russians use for communication because you can't have a geosynchronous orbit at a high north latitude because the Earth doesn't spin that fast up there. And if you're in San Francisco, you can see one star outside on a good night. Yep. The links that Mutter is posting in chat and that the rest of the chat posted are pretty good. All right, fellas. So, I have 324 science. I'm going to unlock this because it gives us the bigger payload bays. No, I'm not going to use the bigger payload bay particularly right now. What I am going to do is this will get me the bigger control surfaces, and then eventually it'll get me the CRG 1000 payload bay, which will be super useful for building the bigger SSTO. I think that's the most pressing thing right now, so I'm going to go ahead and unlock that. And the first thing I want is the Fat 455 tail wing. There we go. Now, there's a reason why I wanted that Fat 455 wing. That's correct, Nuclear. Yeah, Molina orbits, lightning orbits. All right, so we're gonna load up our prototype, and I did work on the prototype a little bit before the stream for early hours. I did not play Minecraft today. I worked on shaping this a little bit more. So here, let's get in here. Chat, you tell me. We like it? The panel thermal protection system is definitely coming along. I need to redo the wings down the bottom a little bit. And 9, you like it, dude? Right on, man. Right on. It's definitely starting to look like it, that's for sure. That's what we're aiming for. And the front of that is definitely a weird shape. Looks terrible. Oh, wait. That's just my reflection. Oof. Ooh. Alright. Man, train 23 is going over, but it's still light out. What do you have so far? Looks good? Cool. We really need to get this done very soon. Like in the next 1 or 2 streams. Problem is that this is a tough shape, and I've never attempted to make a shape like this before. So, yeah, it's challenging. I tried using grip pads for the outside fuselage here. I'm not sure how that's going to work aerodynamically, but yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say that Dutch guy, judging by this, it probably doesn't fly the worst, but that's not ideal. That's good. That's where I want that. With a re-entry vehicle, guys, you need your center of lift to almost be exactly lined up with your center of mass. They basically need to be the point to where this circle and the center of mass circle are crossing each other. But the other thing that's really important is that you need that to stay like that throughout any angle of attack. You see, as I go through from 5 degrees, that's where I want it. 10 degrees, see how it moved back? 15 degrees, it moved back a little bit more. 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. If we go up to 45, see what's going on here? That's no good. This needs to be forward more. It needs to be forward more. Yeah. And just on a side note, another reason why I unlocked the Fat 455 is to replace this. I want the 455 wing here instead of that. It'll work a lot easier and it'll save us on some part count. Yeah, it's getting there, N9. How are you, man? How's your stream going? 15, 30 degrees. And then... yeah, Wiser, it's getting there. This is the part that's going to take the longest, guys. The reason why I'm taking my time for the small one is because for the big one, see, I'm using these small triangles here. For the big one, guess what? I could just use bigger triangles, and I could literally make the exact same shape at double or 3 times the size. Easy. No problem. So I'm really taking my time here. And with a bigger one, I could just copy this instantly. I could copy the part hierarchy, I could copy the part tree, everything will be just fine. What does the shuttle's AOA look like? My center of lift and center of mass don't change on Collins at all. They stay in the same spot no matter what angle of attack. That makes the thing really, really easy to use. The real shuttle hit entry interface going at about 40 degrees. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And don't get me wrong, this is close. This is close to what we want. I gotta go over here. This is close to what we want, guys. This needs to be just a little bit more forward. I gotta hone in the design a little bit. We're on the right track. We're definitely on the right track. My center of mass, just on a side note, is still a little bit further back than what I ideally would want. But this is definitely moving in the right direction. You know what? I'll keep this out at 10. This is probably something we'll hone in from flight testing. I'll just keep that where it needs to be. Last link for awesomeness. Cool picture. If you want to hone whatever, shouldn't you build the rest of the outer shell of the SSTO, then do the tweaks? Yeah. Basically, that's basically what I'm doing. For the top part here, though, that's going to be pretty difficult. Is the heat tolerance okay with those tail fins as wings? Should be. Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out, won't we? Hone, H-O-A-N. Or no, H-O-N-E, excuse me. Seems the bottom of the tail fin is exposed. Right here? Yeah, I'm working on that. So first of all, this should be right around back here. Should come off right over the edge. Kyron, if you say Leo when we're talking about Kerbal, I don't care. You could use that interchangeably and I wouldn't notice the difference, dude. Yeah, hone, H-O-N, it refined. You refine that design in. Honing comes from metal work. When you're honing something with metal, you really, it comes from metal polishing, if I'm remembering right. You care? All right. It is rotated slightly forward, yes. And now, where did that get us with this? Just out of curiosity. Yeah. Ooh, that's really nice. See, this is the testing that I should have done with Dart, but I didn't really have time to do it. Hellfish, you see how that thing kind of stays in position? And then that right there, that tells me that this thing, when it's going through re-entry, it will naturally want to find right around there as the, like for how it wants to fly. And then, if I'm looking at this right, we should be able to hone in on that, taking into account differential payload mass here, right? Like this, or that. If we make these, if we are able to make these with deflection. No. This is pretty much what I want, Hellfish. That's actually really good. What I really need this thing to do is for it to keep that relationship through any angle of attack. See how as we get up here, so there's 5, there's 10, there's 15, there's 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. See how it slightly moves? I want that to stay the same. I need it to stay the same. Because I want to be able to make the vehicle maneuverable at any angle of attack. That was the problem with Dart. It wasn't maneuverable through re-entry. You basically had to lock it there and use the RCS to keep the nose up, or else it'll just nose down. Thanks, J Tacos. The top covering will affect that a lot. Yeah, which is why I don't really want to test it out too much right now. So I want to keep building. Is the wing panel on top affecting it? Yeah, of course it is. I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to sit here and build the whole skin of this thing out of panels, but the top probably should be made out of wings. But yeah, I don't want to make it out of flags, that's for sure. This is the answer to Dart. This is the answer to my, yeah, basically, this is what, well, chat wanted as the answer to Dart, I should say. Yeah, this is what they wanted to do. We're only at 200 parts right now, which is pretty good. I need to redo some of this here. Now these panels are going to work like tiles. My theory is that if you string a bunch of these together, they should be able to radiate the heat to all the different parts. They should basically be able to work exactly like tiles, like thermal tiles on a space shuttle, or on the X-37, or on Starship. I screwed it up. I gotta redo this entire wing because it's not placed in the same hierarchy as the rest of these. That's okay. See how, like, if I select that, it's an entire strip. That one wasn't made from the center out. Leave it bare. It does look cool. Well, if I have to, but I'm not gonna leave something like this. You see the super heavy propellant manifold? Yeah, Embryo. What do you think of that? Is that something or what? All right, get rid of these for a moment. And I'm gonna mess with the wings here for a second as well. I'm not sure I want these like this, but we'll see. I do like this. I like what we have thus far. This is quite good. Nice and aligned. And now, what should we use for this part here? All right, so that's placed like that. I don't mind having that piece there. This stuff shouldn't be too hard to bridge. I can do it with tiles if I need to. Let's go over here like this. You could use another fairing base to close the gaps. Yeah, we could. Can a one segment Mark III fit in this? I don't think I have. I bought it, but we did unlock it. It could. It would be a little bit of a tight squeeze in there, but it could. Yeah, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say that probably not. It would be better to use a Mark II in that capacity. Like, I really designed this with the intention of using Mark II payload bays. Yeah, that way all you get is a little hump at the top, and I could put like a crew tank in there or a pilot seat or whatever. Yeah, these things are, yeah, save it for the bigger things, you know. Mark II, or you could use robotics to have arms that open and close. I really don't want robotics on this. Have we come up with a name for this? No. No, nothing yet, drummer. And I'm not really even thinking about that, and I don't want to think about that until we get it finished. I already saw it, Reagan. Pretty cool, though, huh? What boppin' music is this, by the way? This is Robert Parker. Robert Parker's a Swedish synthwave musician. This is Falling Over Time. Oh, Falling Over Time. Off, I forget which album. And then Robert Parker is basically all I listen to when I'm playing KSP because I know for sure it's not going to mute the VOD. And Robert Parker's stuff is whitelisted. Yeah, his stuff is okay to stream as background music. Yeah, Warting, I agree. I like this, but I like this, but getting them to bridge, getting the right shape is really tough. What happens if, like, wait, could we? Let me just see something. I don't think the angles are gonna work because this is a right triangle and the other one's an equilateral, but could we, like, realistically, like, use the hypotenuse of this to cap off this? No, it's too long. Like, what I'm thinking is, could we... Yeah, that clips a little bit. I'm just really having trouble trying to bridge this shape. It almost works, but no. We're playing with geometry now. Now you're thinking with portals. Wait a minute. This isn't me trying to finalize anything in particular. I'm just... Huh. Just messing around. Okay. We could use these triangles to do thermal protection as well, or to help us bridge compound, like, different shapes and whatnot. It's totally doable. But these would have to be, they wouldn't be like squares. They would have to be like this, not like that, in order for it to work right. They would have to be, think like a diamond, right? An equilateral diamond, like this, instead of like just like that. Like these, in order to work really right, would have to be like this. You know what I'm wondering now, fellas? I'm wondering if this can take up more surface area. If I could take up more surface area and make pretty much the exact same shape, right? We could lower the part count over a bigger design. But I suppose the equilateral triangles are way easier geometrically to work with. That's a good exercise. I like that. Any reason you don't use a fairing for the entire form instead of these panels? Would definitely provide better aero and lower part count. How am I gonna get fairings to make that shape? Fairlicious, I'll be honest with you. There's that, but the real reason is, do you remember that? You remember the K90, right? Remember initially with the K90, I was using fairings for the wing leading edge, and I think I did end up using those, right? What I noticed is that those things are insanely, having fairings like curved inward for a leading edge like that makes it insanely susceptible to body lift. Or not body lift. That body lift being, so if the fairing is, if your craft is going this way and your fairing plate is tilted, you'll make body lift. The body lift will go perpendicular to the it'll go perpendicular to the direction, the vector that you're going, or the heading, I guess, and that really makes it very, very vulnerable to side slip. And once again, I know that from the K90. K90, I'm pretty sure I used... Was the K90 that long ago? Yeah, that thing. It's super susceptible to it. Yeah, what Snackless linked up. And now keep in mind, the reason why it was okay on the K90 is because this thing wasn't designed to go fast. At high speeds, that can cause very, very high instability. When _hop, unrecognized command. It's when hop, excuse me, not when _hop. When hop. Yeah, the K90 was a great build. I learned a lot from it, Hellfish. Like, that helped me really, really solidify trying wing tessellation. So we can make some really awesome shapes. I might end up utilizing some of that wing tessellation here on the top of this thing. Yeah, wing tessellation could really be used up here in a very good way. And it would look really nice. And it would give me more lift. But then again, using wings up here at the front, I don't know. I want to stick to panels up there, up at the front of this thing. let me just play with this while we're here. See, I just want to go, we'll keep going from here because I have a pretty interesting idea how this could work. Once again, the reason why I'm why I don't mind putting a lot of panels on this thing, I don't want to go crazy with them, right? But the reason why I don't mind putting a lot of them on here is because the more panels I put, the more temperature I can spread through more panels. The panels don't really have a good max temperature, right? But if I'm remembering correctly, they can disperse heat very well. Like, so if you have a lot of them, they absorb it. They work kind of like aluminum almost. Aluminum or aluminium, haha, different people from different countries pronounce things differently. Oh my goodness, I know. Crazy idea. Aluminum can conduct heat very well, but it can't hold heat very well. You need aluminum over a big surface area to be able, it'll conduct it and it'll spread that heat around the whole thing, right? And similar to how, like, if you pour water into a glass, certain metals can only take so much heat. They can only take so much heat. They can only absorb so much heat before they melt. That's the reason why the shuttle, for instance, the space shuttle was made out of aluminum and not like titanium or something. There are titanium components on the shuttle, if I'm remembering right, but the K90 is the craft that the K90 is the craft that is the reason I keep mentioning to mirror your angled wing surfaces. If you remember, that was part of what fixed its flight characteristics. Mirror your angled wing surfaces. I mean, well, yeah, of course, yeah. Tell me. You're not wrong.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Lavi, 61-month resub. Thank you. And once again, guys, this is kind of, I have to find the balance with this project of trying stuff like that's cutting edge, right? Stuff that's cutting edge for like Kerbal, like theory of building spacecraft in KSP, and stuff that I know works. The reason because is that this spaceship, I want to spend the time and I want to do it right, even though we're shorted on the deadline. Because, guys, I'll tell you what, I really don't want to fail again, and I do not want to have to go in here and engineer another one of these things. Despite the fact that I have to engineer the big one, I get it. I do not want to go and engineer another one. I don't know. I want to engineer this thing just like we were talking about with the Merlin engines. I want to engineer this thing to be once and for all, like, we're good. We don't have to go and design another one. Like, I don't ever want to have what happened with Dart happen with any of my creations ever again. I'm a little salty that Dart got canceled, but so I'm going to make sure that this one isn't canceled. That's why I've been working on it for early hours and whatnot. I'm going to make sure that this thing doesn't. You were saltier than the Dead Sea. Yeah, I was a little annoyed. I wasn't really expecting it to get canceled, dude. But such is life. Check your last link. Also, please consider Delta 2 Heavy. I'll tell you, that rocket ain't right. I tell you what, that rocket ain't dang old right. So those are there to act as a heat shield. Yep. And they're also there to counterbalance the front of the ship, McLovin. The thing about building shuttles in KSP, and this is something that you really, like, it's really hard to learn this. It took me a long time to get this right. This streamer knows one secret to building shuttles in KSP. Physics hates him. No. With a shuttle's design, okay, or the X-33, it doesn't really matter. Any type of re-entry vehicle. Anything that brings the rocket back, that brings a rocket engine back, you're running into a very interesting problem. Hey, MGB, nice. The problem that you're running into with any of these different types of prototypes, or the space shuttle in general, right, is that you have a gigantic, or in the case of the shuttle, you have 3 freaking gigantic engines sticking out the back. That's a problem. That's a problem for aerodynamics. Tail-heavy planes don't fly very well. Nose-heavy planes fly poorly. Tail-heavy planes fly once. That stuff is heavy. How do you make the thing fly when you basically have the equivalent of 3 Mack trucks worth of mass hanging off the tail of your plane? Well, the solution is to have a big hollow space and then jam as much stuff as you possibly can into the front. Kerbal doesn't do that very well, right? It's hard to do. You ever make a glider in KSP or some type of SSTO and you try to re-enter and it ends up just flying backwards and tries to land Falcon 9 style? Well, there's your problem. Well, what's the difference between that and the space shuttle? Space shuttle has as much stuff crammed into the front as possible to counterbalance this. Center of mass on the shuttle is right around here. That's the COM, right? And if you notice, it's about 2 to 3 times the length, right, from the center of mass to the front of the shuttle than it is from the center of mass to the back of the shuttle. The reason is because as long as your center of lift is lined up on your center of mass, you can use all this stuff up here to counterbalance all of this. And basically, I have to do the same thing. I have to do the same thing here with this. This is no exception. I have a payload bay, right? I have very heavy engines come out, sticking out the back, right? Part of the reason why I put panels up here is to counterbalance it. Panels are pretty heavy for what they are. Don't get me wrong, these aren't that heavy, but they are heavy. I'll put my avionics up here. I'll put RCS up here. I'll put a bunch of stuff up at the front. And the reason I'm going to do it is to try and counterbalance the fact that I have, well, basically 2 Mack trucks worth of mass hanging off the back of this thing. Lockheed had to do the same thing with the X-33.
Discovery, go and
If
throttle
you look
up.
at the diagram for the X-33, what they ended up doing is putting liquid oxygen tanks up at the front. That would make the thing work really well on the way up, but also on the way down, the liquid oxygen tanks here are made out of aluminum. And the liquid hydrogen tanks are made out of carbon fiber. So this thing, once again, shoehorning as much as you can into the front. Shoehorning as much mass as you can into the front. Now, would making the liquid oxygen tank out of carbon fiber as well make the vehicle lighter and have more delta V? Yeah, absolutely. But it also wouldn't fly. It wouldn't fly very well because your center of mass would go too far to the back. Luland, 69-month resub. Nice. See what I'm talking about? So you have to find ways, you have to find creative ways in stock KSP to overcome the fact that you're going to always have a rearward center of mass bias anytime you try to make a re-entry vehicle. Once again, the way they came up, the way the Lockheed engineers got around that problem is they engineered this out of metal and this out of carbon fiber to keep the center of mass forward. So it would fly correctly as a rocket, but also fly correctly as a plane. How they did that with the shuttle was they put as much stuff as they could up here. All the electronics are up here. All the things and all the paraphernalia associated with human space flight is all up here. Environmental control, life support systems, water tanks, the bathroom, the kitchen, the flight deck, all the seats that you need, all the space suits. Everything is up there at the front. And then on top of that, you have your forward landing gear, which on the shuttle is also as far forward as humanly possible. They put that front landing gear up there. They shoehorned all the stuff that they needed for that thing to work up at the very front of the shuttle. There's the nose cone, thermal protection system, and the forward RCS. Guess what they made the RCS tanks out of? It's aluminum. And they made that thing heavy on purpose. So the front of the shuttle would counteract the fact that you have 3 huge rocket engines, 2 orbital maneuvering system engines, and all of this stuff, all the stuff associated to operate all that. You have all the plumbing for the main engines, everything. All that is shoehorned into the front of the shuttle to counterbalance that. That's why the shuttle's down mass capability isn't as good as its up mass capability. It's only about half as much. Why? Well, on the way up, the thing acts like a rocket, so whatever you can fit in here, you can take back up. On the way down, since your center of mass is basically right there, it's exactly right there, you can only take down as much as you could fit in this part of the payload bay, because whatever you're taking down, the center of mass of the payload has to align with the center of mass of the shuttle in order for the shuttle to fly correctly, right? If I had mass up here, right, and the shuttle tried to come down with that kind of mass, the center of mass would be too far forward and the shuttle would do what DART did. It would nose down into the ground during re-entry, like what DART always wanted to do. No good. Can't have that. So the shuttle could take 25 tons up and only about 12,000 down. It could only utilize about half of its payload bay to bring payload back down. And we know that for a fact because of the Space Shuttle Space Lab missions. The Space Lab missions, if you look at any configuration of the shuttle with Space Lab inside of the payload bay, right? Well, the more keen-eyed of you will notice that the HAB module is in the backside of the payload bay. Why would they do that? Why would they put it all the way back here? Why would you have to crawl through a huge tunnel to get to the lab? Down mass capability. This thing doesn't deploy. It stays inside, right? Is it the same with Dream Chaser? Not so much with Dream Chaser. Not so much because it's not really designed to carry cargo like the X-33 or the shuttle. But, to an extent, yeah. Like, with Dream Chaser, like, you could just look at it. Where do you think the mass is located on this type of vehicle? On Dream Chaser, where do you think the center of mass of this thing is? Notice how the front is super bulbous and huge, and there's these little, like, bumps right there and there. You know why? They're trying to shoehorn as much mass forward as they possibly can. This still does have engines back here. It has engines, it has wings, it has an airlock back there, an airlock and a docking port hatch. With Dream Chaser, you don't have to worry about it as much as you do with the X-33 or the shuttle, right? But I could tell you just by looking at this that the center of mass is somewhere right in the center of the vehicle, where you would ideally want it. You would want the center of mass to be right around here. Now, if you talked about another vehicle, the X-37. So the X-37 has the payload bay in the center with shuttle-style wings, right? Payload bay is right here, shuttle-style wings. Where do you think the center of mass is on this thing? I'll bet you it's dead center of the payload bay. You know how they balance it on this thing? They don't have an engine sticking out the back like the shuttle does. The fuel tanks. As the fuel tanks drain, the center of mass naturally goes forward. Notice they have smaller fuel tanks here and a bigger fuel tank out back. the bigger fuel tank, once these things drain, center of mass on the way up is probably, I don't know, with payload, it's probably somewhere around here, but it moves forward and it moves into position after they jettison the fuel. And it does jettison the fuel. It has the umbilicals on the side. I mean, you could sit here and say, oh, those are RCS, but I'll bet you one of those is for dumping fuel. I'm willing to put money down on that. Does the center of mass have to be consistent? Not on the way up so much, Kuro. On the way up, all you need is your thruster pointing through the center of mass. The wings and everything don't matter. On the way down, yeah, because you're flying. Absolutely. It absolutely makes a difference. So, you know, going back to the original purpose of why I said this, the reason why I'm using panels up on the front is so I can, the reason why I'm using these panels up on the front is so I can counterbalance the design. It's my way of doing that in KSP. The bonus is that it looks cool too. I mean, yeah, if you can make something that works really well that also looks cool, Dragon 2, I'm looking at you, then yeah, you basically got a winner. A lot of overlap here. And once again, you know, the only real reason, like the balance for me is not necessarily weighing this thing down with panels. These panels don't weigh very much, but a bunch of them shoehorned up at the front will help me with my center of mass. I mean, you could just look. That's where my center of mass was before I put any panels on. See what I'm talking about? Look at that. That's not a lot of difference, but when we're flying, that's the difference between us flying back to the runway and not if our center of lift is right here. That's why the shuttle X-37, that's why I know for a fact that the X-37 dumps fuel. It has to. There's no way that it doesn't. Because the X-33, the Space Shuttle, Dream Chaser, they all do the same thing. They dump that fuel to get better flying. To fly better. Or if they're carrying something down with them, they might not, but it depends on the spacecraft. Check it. Watch the winglet. I've seen this before, yeah. Tori Bruno retweeted that dish, that's cool. I didn't think aircraft were allowed to be that close. The TFR is... Yeah, TFR ain't that bad on that side. The flight restriction doesn't go that far inland, dude. Because there's airports and stuff. It's more out in the ocean, and it fans out and gets bigger. But yeah, right at there, right at the launch site, there's a convergence. There's only so many ways the rocket can go plus 5, 10, 15 seconds off the pad, right? There's only so many places that it can land. So as the rocket gets higher, the TFR goes out a lot more. It diverges, not converges. Yeah, it doesn't go that far inland, dude. It's pretty rad. Alright, I just did a lot of talking. I'm gonna shut up for a second and let my voice recharge. But yeah, Dish, that's amazing. I saw that footage. Somebody posted it, and then Tori Bruno retweeted it, which is really cool. And then the Russian guy, whoever that is, I'm not sure who that is, but he retweeted the original posters. It's pretty rad, though. Yeah, I like that. And then you could see the wings. Dude, they did the thing. It did the thing, bro. It did the thing. I think that's too much of a convergence there. Hey, Osterstrom, what's up? How are you? Do you believe the Chinese Mars lander, or do you think it's a conspiracy? What? 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 No, they landed on Mars. Jam, relax. It's an honest question. Yeah, no, they landed. Yeah, they did
Discovery,
it.
go at throttle.
They go. Yeah, they landed. I have no reason to think that they didn't. Draco, 36-month resub. Mission Control, this is board member Draco reporting in. It has been 3 years since I've joined the ESA, and my, what an event it is. What an eventful 3 years it's been. Here's to many more. Now, what's that secret snack stash Jeff left behind? Where's the secrets? Yeah, nice. Wrong, the pictures are from Venus. Yeah, Gagabug Love, they landed, dude. They did. Yeah, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory, you know? Like, why would they fake that? Like, I don't think so. Yeah, the real question to ask is, like, with China, with their rockets and everything, do you think they don't have the capability to get to Mars? I think they do.
Discovery.
What I don't like is the secrecy of their program. I wish they were more transparent about it. But then again, if they were more transparent about their program, we'd probably figure out that their space program is killing indigenous people around China. So that's probably why they aren't doing that. Just putting it out there. This reminded me, couldn't we get to Mars faster sometimes in the year if we sent rockets toward Venus to slingshot to Mars? It's possible. Planets would have to be in the right phasing. The amount of time where that window would make sense is very small.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Shaggy, 37-month resub. Thanks, man. Ingenuity's gonna bring the chair, Thomas. Yeah, no, yeah, they landed, dude. Yeah, they definitely did. I have no doubts. I don't think the pictures or anything look weird. It looks like Mars to me. I don't know. I mean, I suppose if someone wants to think differently, you know, you can. If you search enough long on the internet, you'll find somebody that agrees with you on something as weird as that may be. But hey, Toa, what's going on? Not to nitpick, but could you get the lines and the panels going in the same direction? No. I tried. You can't manipulate them as well. Yeah, I tried it probably 2 VODs ago. In the VOD on Monday, I tried making this shape with panels with those lines going all in the same direction. It doesn't like it. It's so like, see how like local orientation manipulates from right here? See that? Yeah, that's... You don't get that if you try to line everything up. The reason is because, right, if I take the panel, right, and I place it, look at how the texture is from the default attachment point. So that means I would have to rotate this like this, right, and then use absolute rotation to move it into position. And then say I took another panel like this. We rotated that panel into position, right? And then I rotated that like that to get the things to line up. Now look. The manipulator points are all screwed up. See what I'm talking about? I don't want to do that. Love the VOD channel, by the way. Cool. I'm glad you like it. Drummer slaved over a hot compiler for a long time trying to get that, getting that thing to work. This thing will look pretty rad like this if we can get this to work right. I'm not sure about the white panels though, but who knows. Yeah, 9. The only thing I'm really worried about is part count, dude. Part count with this is gonna suck. It's gonna suck, man. And like I said, I'm banking I'm hoping that this panel thermal protection system does what I think it's going to do, and I won't really be able to figure that one out until we go to test this thing, but we should be able to do some small structural testing and whatnot. That should help us figure it out. How heavy would it be if you used heat shields? I don't think I could make this shape with heat shields, dude. With that being said, I don't know. Yes? Once this stuff starts to get tighter and closer together, you start to get a lot of overlap. Like a lot of overlap here. It'd be a touch nose heavy. A touch? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a little bit on the bulky side up here, huh? We're not talking sandwich bread, man. We're talking bulky rolls. Around what part count? 300? 300 is really ideally what I'd want, but I'm trying to do it below 255, but I don't think we can. It's going to be really difficult to do that. It looks like a cursed F-15 upside down. Sure. It's 1.6, make. I have the money to do it and have 2 million left over. If I could cover the whole thing in panels, I absolutely would. It would look amazing. You're probably going over 255 with VS anyway. With VS? You could, you just couldn't fly it. Yeah, Pi, that's true. It's the first iteration, Sunti. What's up, man? You can make it that way now and save it for when you upgrade the VAB. Then just see where you could place small panels. Yeah, what I'm trying to do, guys, is I couldn't really figure out a good way to... fill in this design that I wanted, how I saw fit. So what I'm literally doing is doing what I want. What I want to do is make a lot of this out of panels and find the balance between using panels and wings. I'm serious. That's what I'm doing. Build this out, and a couple people have suggested this in chat. Don't get me wrong. I think it's the right move. Build it out how you want it, and then chip away at it and figure out what parts you can replace here and there. I want to see what a final panel part count. Panel. No, I want to figure out what the final part count would be with panels in this design. I've been chilling. Finals went well. Got a 3.2 GPA this semester, which I'm happy for. Only 2 more to go. There you go, man. That's cool, Sunti. Get it, man. Get it. Perhaps there are simple node-attached parts that can be welded in later. Well, yeah, maybe. Drummer, like I said, that's the reason why I'm sculpting right now. I'm just going ham and doing what I would want to build. I'm making what I would want to build if we had unlimited part count at our disposal. Do you have the protective rocket nose cones? You could use those or a large amount of tail connectors for the same parts as this. Okay. Guys, I don't know how I'm doing what I want. I don't want to compromise by using anything but panels could possibly be misconstrued. What do you think that means? Let me build it out how I want to build it out first, and then we'll see. We'll see if we can use tail cones or whatever or something in that spot later. Okie dokie? Yeah, let me mess with this. Let's build what we want. Man, I really wish we had a dark fairing. Somebody did say it. But this will work. I don't mind the orange too much. It's possible, Sneaky. See, the pattern starts to break down. Frylock, the genetic structure's breaking down. It needs to be analyzed at the Camaro dealership. Flags, drummer, I don't know how flags are gonna get me this shape. Like, I'm suggesting them for the middle part, not for the front part. I should have specified. Oh, yeah, right here, maybe. I'm not sure if even a nose cone in this area right here is the shape that I'm looking for, but if we could match the outside of a nose cone with the right angle there, yeah, exactly. It would, yeah, I see what you're saying now. I got confused. I'm like, wait a minute, what? I just said I don't want to do that right now. Like, why? Why do you hate me? Get up here. I didn't say you could go down there. know what? It'd probably be better to have these shapes do something like this. Oh, it doesn't look nearly as good. No, it's to blend up to that shape, they need to be back where they were. Damn.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Noobzor, 24-month resub. Thanks, man. The overlap just gets so bad up here when you start crunching these things together. Like, look at how bad look at how bad this gets. Like, it's to the point where I have to basically, like, rotate this thing a bunch of times, and because the shape breaks down. This is the exact problem they had with the shuttle's freaking tiles, dude. It's the same thing. Like, the geometry starts really breaking down because of the weird shape. Like, you're gonna have to start cutting out all different weird pieces for tiles and whatnot. I do like what we have thus far, though. This does look nice. I just don't know how we're gonna fill this up here, but maybe if I hang on, let me try something. Ready? This is just me messing around. Let's see if this works. Maybe I could use a bigger triangle up here to save some part count. Oh, it's so close. That's so close to working. No. Oh, wow. That part right there makes it look like a unicorn. Screw that. Half an hour till the Ford presentation. Yep. Didn't the shuttle have a serial code or barcode etched into each tile? 30,000 individual tiles, each one with an individual serial number. Every tile was different from another tile. Guys, I'm sorry this is taking so long. I thought we would be doing more testing here, but out of all the places, this is where we had to get hung up. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Is this on? Hey, what's up, Sawyer? How are you? Got any fourth dimensional hamsters? I heard they are heat resistant and can fit in any shape. What? Doing good, loving how this is turning out. Yeah, me too, man. I hope I can get this thing to work. I'm banking on these panel tiles working correctly.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Airboris, 41-month resub. It's very much becoming a vehicle that I hate to love. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Let's get in here like this. Welcome, Raiders, to Triangle Simulator. Rocket Guy, what's up, man? Thanks for the raid. You guys know my buddy Rocket Guy? Actual rocket scientist that plays KSP. I know more about Kerbal than he does, but he knows way more about rockets than I do. What's up, Rocket Guy? How are you? I'm just honing in my TPS here for this. I'm using Rocket Guy panels. Not so good. Fat fingered emission on launch would cause it to crash, so that's yeah. I would ask for a clip, but how bad was the failure mode, man? Like, did you screw up as bad as me, or? I mean, you couldn't be as bad as, surely it's not as bad as what I did.
Finally, for March of 1989, near normal precipitation, near normal temperature in March, and above normal precipitation, an active storm track will keep cooking on the East Coast here in March as well. And the storm dates, the 5th, the 6th, 10th, through the 12th, the 16th through the 18th, 22nd through the 24th, and the 29th and the 30th of the month. That is our long-range winter forecast. If you missed any of that, we're going to do it again tonight on our 10:30 broadcast. Be with us. You can also write me and include a self-addressed stamp envelope. Channel 11 here at 220 East 42nd Street, and we'll send you a copy of that forecast. That's the story. That's the story.
Just to relay sat to the moon, I was using an automated guidance and accidentally hit an action group, which caused the second stage to separate, which resulted in flight termination. All worked as expected, just fat finger. Ah. Yeah, I can see your PEBCAT termination system, or flight software is at fault. Yes. 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 Does the front mounted Mark II cockpit fit in that top gap? Yeah, sneaky it should. One fly. It'll fly when it's ready. Yeah, it'll fly when it's ready.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Now, the real question is, do we want to go all the way back with this? I really don't. But something that I noticed that we really have to do is where are we expecting the most heat? That fairing will have the most heat, dude. And the fairing is attached to this, and then this girder is attached to all the panels, so it should radiate the heat correctly. Should. I guess if I really wanted to do this right, this would all be attached to this and not that. It would be attached to the panel base plate to heat up correctly. Huh. Repost. How does the silver or gray fairing look with this? Doesn't look right. But then again, neither does that. Oh crap. No. Where did that attach? Okay. This one could look the part, I suppose. But nah. You know what? I'm just going to keep this the way that it is. I don't like the orange stripes, guys. I'm not going to lie to you, but it is what it is. Silver. I already did the silver. Orange stripe signifies it's a test vehicle. Yep. Alright, well. Okay, but have you considered the silver? No, I haven't. All right, let's see. Let's do this. Let's see where we're at. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. Let me put the wings here that I want in. Alright, so that one can't be like that. This needs to be like that, though. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's gonna suck. It's really gonna suck. Are you gonna try for drop test first or straight up fly? I don't know. I don't know, it really depends. Like, as messed up as that sounds, it really depends. Alright. Now, what I'm gonna do is something like this. So, give me this. I'm gonna bring one of my rulers that we make. The rulers that Tessa came up with, right here. So I'm going to use the strut to kind of connect a line. Connect one line to another. And I'll be able to, this will help me sculpt out what I'm looking for. So I'm going to make this strut line, right? Go a little bit further than what I need, and I'm going to connect it to there. Because that is the line that I'm pretty sure needs to go down all the way to here. Okay? And it needs to more or less connect in right there. And the reason why I'm using that, the strut line, for basically a sight line, is so I can build and I don't have to worry about selecting anything. Bruins game went to OT again. Oh boy. Okay, so here's what we'll do. Let me just make a line of these. And we'll see. I want to give myself an approximate. I need to see how many, if I wanted to make that whole dang shape out of these things. The whole, not this part, not the bottom, like just this curve right here going back. How many panels would that, what are we talking about here? Like, what are we talking about exactly, right? That's what I'm trying to see. Yeah, it's gonna be over. It's gonna be over that, Sawyer. Yeah, absolutely. But I might have a way to get around that. Might. Big emphasis on might. Huh. 15 minutes. Okay. See, this is where this is going to get complicated. I don't know what else we would have in place, to be honest with you, Sawyer. I don't know. That's what I would want. But
Discovery,
see,
go
this
and
is where
throttle up.
this gets a little weird, right? Because, so give me one of these, right? Looks sick. Keep up the great streams. Thanks, man. All right, so put this here like this. Hand sculpting this is gonna take a second, guys. I'll just kind of try to do an approximation if I can. Is this work going to be compatible with larger versions? Sure. I have larger triangles. I can make a larger vehicle. Absolutely. Yeah. I took that into account. That's the other reason why I want to use panels so much, guys. Because it'll be easier to make the bigger one. If I spend the time and I figure this out now, it's really going to pay off later. Do you have any interest in what Ford's electric F-150 might offer? Yes? It's looking good, Reagan. Do you like it? You think so? The announcement is tonight. I know. Okay. I got this figured out, so I'm just gonna move that over here. See, I'm hoping... I really don't think that this will be the final version. I don't think I'm going to make the entire thing out of triangles. But what I know we can do is if I make this out of triangles right now, and if I make it out of triangles right now, I'll basically I'll be able to see the shapes a little better, and then we can get a better idea of what we could use in lieu of this to make something look nicer, to make the thermal protection system look better. Are we going to cover the F-150 Lightning here? Yeah, most likely. Did you build model rockets when you were a kid? Not much, no more than like any other kid would have at the time. I built a lot of Legos, Minnesota. I spent a lot of time with Legos. Let me just finish this and then we'll flip over to that coverage in a moment. What got you fascinated with rocketry? I don't know. I don't remember. Minnesota, I couldn't tell you why I like space, dude. Really, I have no answer to that question. I've always liked it. Some of my earliest memories as a kid was watching space shuttle launches with my dad. My dad showed me that stuff. And that's some of my fondest memories. And then there was a movie that came out in 1986 called Flight of the Navigator. I watched that a lot when I was a kid, and my parents say I basically wore out the VHS copy that I had. That's what my parents tell me. I don't know. I don't know what stirred it. I couldn't tell you. I really don't have an answer to that question. I don't know why I like space so much. It's weird. It's abnormal at times. Yeah, nuclear. Mm-hmm. For Jim, for you, it was the Voyager missions. Yeah, that explains a lot. Yeah, Minnesota, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's just weird, right? I don't know why I like space so much. It's just bizarre. Like, dude, I can't sit and talk about any random subject for as long as I can sit here and talk about space. Strangest thing. I can sit here for hours playing Kerbal, messing with panels, doing this, doing that. I could... Can't do that with anything else, dude. It's this it's strange, man. It just gives me the motivation that I need to work like way harder. It's very peculiar. Why do you ask, if you don't mind me asking a question to your question? You have a problem talking about space? Me too? Yeah, it happens. Interesting, Trojan, yeah. He was ironically when... Interesting, Kyron, yeah. Yeah, Zen, Star Wars, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I got into Star Wars a little later, but... Yeah, I don't know, man. I can't tell you a singular event, but I can tell you whatever it was. If it was a singular event, it happened when I was not old enough to remember it. Flash Gordon. Nice, Jaka. I know, Chris. Thank you. I just want to finish the shark teeth here on this design. Shark teeth. Why not big triangles for that part? I could. I'm building it out of small triangles to get the shapes that I want, and then from there we could pick out pieces and make bigger triangles if we need to, or other pieces, and it'll work a lot better. Yeah, there you go, Snackless. Yeah. All right, guys. So I'm gonna pause and we're gonna go back over to science and technology for a second. And we're gonna look at the, I want to see the 150 Lightning reveal. So this is Ford revealing their electric pickup truck. We're gonna switch over to coverage now. And then on the other side of that reveal, shouldn't take more than an hour, I don't think. I'm gonna go back to playing KSP. KSP is going late tonight, fellas. We are going late. Another long stream. I gotta get this stuff figured out, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to proceed with building all those triangles out, right? I'll build the entire thing out of panels to get the shape that I'm looking for. And then we'll go from there. We'll be able to pick out stuff where we can have bigger triangles and smaller triangles. I think that's the right move. Yeah, that's the right play. Please let this F-150 be affordable. Yeah, it probably won't be. All right, so okay. Oh, nice. That's, this is in Dearborn. Cool. That's Ford's headquarters in Dearborn, in Detroit. At least I'm pretty sure it is.